Welcome to Custom Homebuilders Solutions, also known as CHS, a job costing, full accounting, and profit management software designed specifically for the professional home builder. Hi there, this will be a continuation in our draw requests series that are provided by CHS, and this particular section will be beginning a series about what we call our fill-in draw worksheets. I'm on the home page of CHS, and I clicked the area for payers, deposits, receivables, draws, and I'm going to the draw request button, and I'm going to go ahead and not select a job right now. I want to talk about the two buttons that are fill in draw spreadsheet for amounts and fill in draw spreadsheet for percents. This particular video is going to be setting up some template jobs, because quite often these fill-in draw spreadsheets are based on categories provided by your lender or your bank for doing draws. That's one reason people use these instead of the more powerful draws that we've been over in previous videos, where CHS does pull in information for you, does cost plus markup, cost plus builder fee, or percent complete draw requests. And these are a lot smarter draw sheets. These are called fill-in because you will fill them in yourself, but you can set up a couple of template type jobs, and that's what I would like to talk about in this video, so that you can keep copying those categories, and if it's percents, the percents that maybe your lender uses all the time to do draw requests. You'll see more about what I mean in just a second when we get into it. But first of all, let me click this question mark button by the one for amounts. And it's saying that it's going to be a 12-column spreadsheet that will allow you to fill in draw amounts and produce draw requests. These can be set up based on cost categories in the job budgets, job stage categories, or based on cost categories as required by a lender. And that's quite often why people might use this instead of the smarter ones from CHS. They can be copied from one job to another so that repeated lender styles do not have to be set up again, and that's what I'm going to talk about today, is setting up a couple template jobs in order to do that. They are standalone and they do not react to any accounting data, no deposits received, anything. It's just a handy tool for you to decide how much you will be drawing and spread those out into columns, and you can even cause more columns to happen past the 12th column, which we'll see in this series of videos. So this was the one talking about amounts. The only difference in the one that's talking about percents, the help for that, is that you're going to be filling in percents instead of amounts in those columns. And you could also set these up by stage categories or cost categories, but you really can't bring in numbers from a budget or the cost codes from a budget. However, you could copy from another job that had used the cost codes as the draw categories if that's what you're wanting to do. But you'll see all of that in a minute. The first thing I'm going to talk about is I've already opened the jobs list, the list of jobs over here, and I'm going to add a couple of jobs that are going to be called template jobs. And you'll see why I'm doing that in just a minute. I'm also going to put a ZZ in front of their job code so that they sort to the bottom of the list, and I'm calling this one ZZ Draw Amounts. And I'll continue. And then the window will open for me to set up jobs. Please watch videos about setting up jobs. I'm going to set this department to just OH. It's not really going to be a real job. But I'm not calling it a what if job because I want it available to copy from. So the street name, I'm just going to put in something like fill in or for amounts draw requests, something like that. That's why this one's called ZZ Draw Amounts. And I don't need to do anything else to this one, like give it a customer or anything, so I'll close that. And then I'm going to add another new job that is ZZ Draw Percents. That's for percents because you're only allowed 10 characters there. And we'll put it to the overhead department just because it's not really custom homes or anything. And this is for percents draw requests or something, just so we can know that it's for that, but we probably won't be using it. So if I close this and then I refresh the list, you'll see that those came out. I probably have some other ZZ jobs, but they came out near the bottom of the list, so they won't be annoying to you in drop-down lists for selecting jobs. So those are my two just basic template jobs I set up, and the reason for that is because I will be copying from them after I set up the original template in Draws. So now I'm going to select the ZZ Amounts one, and I'm going to click the button for Fill in Draw Spreadsheet Amounts. And it's detected that there has not been a draw spreadsheet set up yet, so it's giving you various ways to set up a new draw worksheet. In our next videos, etc., we will be creating one based on the costs on the budget, based on summed up by stage categories, or based on the markup from the budget, or from markup budget, and or from copying from another job. But right now I'm going to open a blank worksheet that's just ready for you to fill in. It will always have one line just so it will open. So we've set up one line here called First Category. Now what you'll notice is this in a row, and then we're going to have a list of categories down here which are rows of things. But we also have columns, column 1, column 2, column 3. These are for filling in amounts for various different draws, which we'll see later. But if you want to fill in column amounts, you use that. If you want to change something about this row, which I'm going to do, because I have a list somebody provided me for what their lender does. I do want to change the first category to be plumbing. This is just some stuff that some categories that a bank supplied. And you'll see some more here in just a minute, but I just want to submit that one as an edit to that one because I wanted it to be plumbing rough sort number 1. Now I'll start adding new categories, and we'll use some based on what the bank has given us. So foundation, and CHS detected that the next sort number could be 2, but if for some reason I'm doing things all out of order, I can give it a sort number. Or if you follow this sort number tip and you've made a bunch of them and you had 1, 2, 3, 4, but you wanted to put one between the 1 and the 2 one, you could do 1.5 to get it there. This one's talking about 4.5. And we're not putting any amounts in these right now. This is because this is our template job. So I'll add that new category. Then it just stays here, and I could add the next category and then add that new category, etc. I'm going to pause this here in a second and fill in all the rest so that we can come back to see this. This over here is showing them in descending order because it might get long, so you might at the top want to see the last one that you did just because. But notice that if I close, we now have 3 categories going on here waiting to be filled in, the columns, etc., which, like I said, we'll get to later. But that's how you're doing the one with the fill in the blank kinds of things. I'm actually going to go ahead and pause this so that I can fill those in and then come back, not make this video too long. So okay, I've gone and I've filled in, you can see records 28, like 28 different categories here to set up a template like the bank likes for when I'm going to be drawing things and how much. And we're not filling in the total to draw or anything here because this is just our template. But I'd like to go over and show you the percent one, and we will go ahead and put the percents in there so that those can be copied each time. So let's close this, and again, we'll come back to actually filling in draw columns and producing draw requests. So let's select the one for percents, that template job, so we can get it set up. And let's say we want to do the fill in for percents, and it detects for this job we don't have any yet. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the other job to copy from, the ZZ Draw Amounts. It knows we're about to do a percent. It's not going to pull in the amounts. It's going to just pull in the draw categories for me. So I'm going to copy the draw categories from another job. And then it opens one that is getting ready to handle percents. So you can see that this total to draw stuff has changed now to percents. up here is an additional line you didn't see on the other one because it's going to be calculating the amount for us so we can see how much the percents have caused an amount to be. But you can see that we have the same ones, so all I want to do is start editing and breaking out how much percent the bank told me to do for plumbing rough. And you're just going to do in the to draw amount here. We're not filling in. These are for when you're ready to do draws. So the first to draw amount is 2%, and I submit and close. So we're going to get this template set up. So you see 2% there. If I click on the foundation row, I'm going to want 12% is what the bank said, so I'm going to submit that. And by setting up these templates, you can copy another one that's going to be percent complete, and the studs and plates 8%, and submit that. And then you would go through them all and get your percents in there to where they add up to 100%, and I will pause again and just go cause that to happen and come back in just a second. Okay, I filled in all the percents down that the bank told me how much percent of the loan, interim loan total they want me to draw. The percent for each of these various things in the categories that they gave me. And you'll notice now at the top of the line it says total to draw 100% and remaining 100%. If I want to fill in for draw 1, I would end up doing fill in column percents and selecting which column I want to fill in. And I'm going to set it back to 0 after I do it. But you can see here that it shows amount remaining on here and that it's ready to fill in column 1. You could also change some of your total to draw things that I had put in from the bank if you needed to on here. But there's a handy arrow here that say on column 1 I want to draw all of that, and I want to draw all of that maybe in my first draw. So I click the arrow key to get it to supply that amount. And let's just close this. I could just type in 6% to be in column 1 so that still 6% would be remaining. You'll see what happens if I do that. And you use the down arrow keys, by the way, which is not what I did. Like if you're on this one and you go down and down and down on your keyboard. But anyway, you can see that if I close that, I'm going to start being set up to be drawing on column 1. There's no amounts in here because I've not set up any loan total amounts for it to draw on, so it's not calculating any amount to draw. But we're going to get to that in just a minute. I just really wanted to show you how you can set up a couple of job templates, and then next time I wanted to do a draw request for some job that I'm setting up, and I want to do the fill in because I'm not going to use pulling in all the numbers from CHS, then I can use these 2 templates that I have set up in these 2 jobs and copy from them. Okay, continue to watch the next ones to learn more about these fill in draw spreadsheets.